Hello and welcome to this week's Roundup by blockchaingamer.biz. Make sure you check out our content on blockchaingamer.biz and follow us on Twitter at BCGBiz. Today is Friday the 4th of August and I'm your host, Jenny Jordan, and with me is co-host John Jordan. Hi John, how are you doing?
Big question of the week is, where's my hat? You've got a new hat.
Where's your hat? Yeah, you can wear the Mojo Melee one now if you want.
Oh, I can wear the cast-off hat. I see how this the power
well,
structure.
it's still quite relevant. In fact, it's still quite relevant. We'll get to that later.
Yeah,
Some news surrounding Mojo
Tell
Melee
us about
this
your new
week.
hat. We're very, very proud of it. It's a very good hat.
It is good. Yeah.
It is good. No, I'm very. I'd say quite jealous, but
It's all sort of building up to this next week with the Ultra Arena, Ultra's esports platform going live. It's Tuesday, I think, next week.
Yeah. So your new hat is Ultra, the PC game distribution platform.
It is, indeed. Yeah, but let's go into the news from this week. The big news has obviously been the Rec League, this new game that's been announced by Animoca-owned Anyway Games, US studio.
Yeah.
Mech building, combat game. Can you tell us a bit about that, John?
Yes. Where's my hat? Rec League. So this is kind of. I think this is sort of. I was a bit sort of surprised about this. In some ways, that we knew sort of something was coming, although I think most people forgot about it. That there had been Enway had announced they were going to do something with Yuga like about a year ago, and it was going to be about a sort of mech fighting game. And they did put some sort of artwork out about it, but I literally totally forgot that they were doing this thing. And for a bit of background, Enway is really well known, or if they're really well known, they did some Power Ranger fighting games a couple of years ago, which sounds sort of funny, but they were actually, for people who like fighting games, they were really quite highly regarded. They were mobile and PC, and so that's as a studio, that's what they do. They make real-time PV, two-player fighting games. Not quite level of sort of Street Fighter, but that's in that sort of genre. So Rec League is the game they've been working on, and actually it is starting. The first season is starting in September, so they've been doing this sort of very quietly behind the scenes, and then sort of done this big announcement this week. A little bit to unpick. So it's nothing to do with Yuga Labs, but they're setting it up like lots of games do as seasons. So season 1 is launching, or is it season 0? I can't remember. But anyway, the first season is sort of in conjunction with Yuga Labs, and if you own a Bored Ape, a Mutant Ape, a Kennel Club, or a Other Side Coda NFT, if you log into Rec League with your wallet, you'll basically get a free mech that is sort of styled on those NFTs, and each mech consists of 10 different parts, and you can just use the mech as it is. And you can use that to fight, in these arenas, or you can take it all apart. So sort of deconstruct it and get the 10 parts, and then mix and match those parts with other parts you can buy or win in the game. So it's kind of quite interesting from that point of view. And they're sort of portraying it as a bit of an e-sport. So there's going to be lots of sort of competitions between people and ranking and leaderboards and big prizes, so you can win other NFTs by doing that. There'll be a Web 2 version, so no blockchain in that at all, but obviously the prizes for the Web 2 version will be NFTs, so people who don't want to spend any money can sort of win these things, either sell them on the marketplace to people who want them, or they can use them and start doing some of the Web 2
stuff. So you sort of get kind of launched into Web 3 whether you want to or not, almost.
Well, this is the point, for someone like Enway is there's not enough people just in Web 3 to just make a Web 3 game. They know how to make good games, and so they want to build a system that can sort of bridge people. And we're seeing that with sort of Nitro Nation we've spoken about, and any NFL Rivals, and those sort of games where you have experienced game makers who know they can make a great game, know they can get thousands, probably millions of people to play that standard game, and then what percentage can you sort of bring into the Web 3 if you sort of explain it properly to them, and maybe you don't use the terms like NFTs. So I think this is really really interesting as a game, and what Enway's sort of saying is they want to build an ecosystem. So you can imagine maybe guilds, or maybe just people with a lot of sort of money might have a lot of these rare NFT component parts, and then they may just say to someone who's really good into building, say build me like the strongest mech. It's going to be really slow and everything, and then build me like the fastest and most agile mech, and then build me this mech with a big laser gun, or they might have tens and dozens of mechs, and then they'll sort of maybe not rent those out. It's not unclear. It's not quite clear how that works. But they obviously the people who are gonna own the NFTs or be good at building them are not probably the people who are good at playing those games, because people who play those games have very particular skills. So you sort of will have this ecosystem of people with the component parts, people building, and then people playing. So obviously that sort of fits into guilds. I mean, traditionally that's what a blockchain-based guild would do. I've not seen any announcements around that, but I'd be amazed if people like YGG and who are ones like Blackpool and Merit Circle and people like that aren't sort of thinking around that sort of thing. And another sort of really nice sort of thing is people who build really cool NFT mechs can sell non-blockchain versions of those to the people who are playing just a Web 2 game. So you could sort of you could build like just amazing looking mech or a really powerful mech in blockchain, and then maybe sell that for $5 for people. So it'll have the same stats, but obviously it won't have NFT. It won't be an NFT one. So some interesting models. Maybe that will work. Maybe that won't work. But it's interesting. And so Yuga is this first season, and then for other seasons you can imagine them, they say they're thinking about Web 3 and Web 2 brands. So you could imagine any number of brands having sort of branded mechs and objects, and over time you have these Lego blocks and people are building these super cool.
Do you think that mech is sort of a good genre for Web 3 in general? Because we do see sort of quite a lot of those projects. Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I think mechs are sort of gender. There's sort of a gender misbalance in them. I don't think without going too stereotypical, most women do not look at big mechs fighting and go, "Oh, that's a game I want to play." I mean, obviously, women will play those games, but just in general, that's not. So there is you are sort of playing a little bit.
Your Cyberbroker. That's a female.
Yes.
Developer.
So interesting. Yeah, there is a project Cyberbrokers which I really like, which it's actually been doing this mech component thing for about the last year. They're not doing the fighting game, and it would actually be brilliant for Cyber Brokers and Rec League to do a collaboration. I'd be sort of amazed if they don't, because they know each other and they're all part of the same thing. But yeah, the Cyber Broker stuff is
I can always say it. You said it first.
Yeah. The artist is a female. The leader on that is the artist, Josie Bellini. And her mechs are a bit more, I would say, a bit less sort of mechy than they have a feet. You can probably tell there's a female influence in there. But yeah, so that's the only thing. I don't know how broadly it was scaled, but this is you have to start somewhere. So I think I was quite surprised and quite excited, really. They're doing a sort of a loot box drop of the mech part. So as far as I can tell, you won't be able to buy a full mech. I don't think you'll be able to buy parts. But if you have a Yuga, one of those high-end Yuga NFTs, you basically get a free mech for free, which obviously you can sell, you can keep, you can take it apart and sell the bits, all that sort of stuff. But that'll be happening, I would imagine. Where are we? Some point in August or early September. They'll be doing that via AEL allow list and stuff. So
cool, good. And then we are looking at Mojo Melee, who are moving on to season 2. So it's your battle pass. It's not.
I didn't get that.
I took a new one. So they moved from season 1 to season 2, and the bigger news, however, is that they are teaming up with Amazon Prime Gaming and launching their game there, giving away NFTs to those who are players of the game and also Prime members. Can you tell us a bit more there?
Yeah. So I think some people have got slightly over enthusiastic, or not enthusiastic, slightly over excited about this deal. So one, even in blockchain, this is not the first deal. So Amazon Prime did a deal back in last year with Blanco's Block Party, which obviously I'm quite into. And they ended up doing that. They gave away 60,000 NFTs. So that's not nothing, but equally that's not, there's 200 million people Amazon Prime subscribers globally. So clearly it's a tiny percentage. And Amazon Prime Gaming do give away loads of stuff in traditional Web 2 gaming. So just absolutely dozens and dozens. They've been doing this. This is a program that's run for years, and so it's really good. I mean, obviously it works for Amazon Prime people who basically, if you're, occasionally I've been playing a game and there's a free giveaway from Amazon Prime, and you just go, well, I get loads of free stuff in the game for free. For free, it's brilliant. but I'm not quite sure how. I've never seen any research or any idea about if there's a game that people aren't playing, does Amazon Prime giving away free stuff get people into that game? Obviously, the interesting bit with Web3 stuff is if you're giving away NFTs that have a financial value, then obviously people will come in and claim them and maybe try and sell them. In terms of Blankos, that NFT, I think, at one point was selling for $20, is now down to like a few dollars. So they are giving away something with financial value, but it's not it's not like giving away $100 sort of thing. So it's difficult to judge. In terms of Mojo Melee is quite an accessible game, but again, it's the niche. It's an auto chess battler, which again is it's not Candy Crush. So there is a bit of a, even if you're giving away free stuff, people spend the time to work out how it works. I mean, we'll sort of see. But I guess more generally, it is clear that Amazon is interested in NFTs. There was a whole bunch of rumours earlier in the year that they were going to do their own NFT platform. Nothing's come of that so far. But yeah, they've done this deal with Blankos. They actually have a deal with Blankos running at the moment. They have this one with Mojo Melee. It runs for 6 months. So every month, I think if you've connected your game account, within your game account, if you've signed into Amazon Prime in your game account, you're basically going to get this free stuff. So certainly for people like me who are already playing Mojo Melee, pretty good deal. Happy with that. We'll see. I know the Mojo Melee people fairly well, so maybe I'll try and get some numbers out of them.
It'd be interesting to see the numbers of these experiments of Web3 projects trying to sort of go more mainstream and find those channels to sort of grow their audiences, because it's sort of interesting to see whether that is actually the right route, or whether those Web3 projects should just be even more sort of niche than Web3. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
depends what sort of game you are, I suppose.
My sort of view on this is obviously Amazon Prime's doing it not to grow Web3 gaming. Amazon Prime's doing it because their goal is to get more people to sign up to Amazon Prime.
The game projects themselves.
But why is Amazon doing it? Amazon's doing it to reduce churn for Amazon Prime subscribers and increase Amazon Prime subscribers. So that's the reason. They don't care about games per se. They care that people care about games, and they feel that can help their business. So I guess what they're doing is they're doing it for that reason, and they sort of want to get as many games in as possible. Really, why would they not? If it's helping their business. I think the question is more for games, just because Amazon Prime is giving you this great opportunity. That doesn't mean that that's going to be like a big uplift for your game. So you have to think about. I think it will be great for some games. Maybe a handful of games will do really well out of this and get some really good sort of growth in customers and stuff. But it will probably be a certain type of game that's probably, quite maybe sort of easy to get into, and maybe one that thinks quite carefully about what it's given to the Amazon Prime people who come in. So I think you're getting a bunch of people in. How are you going to sort of introduce them to the game? How are you going to sort of keep them going? That's a sort of marketing funnel sort of optimization sort of thing, which I'm not an expert in whatsoever. So I think it'll work well for a couple of games, and a couple of games will probably put out big press releases saying how Amazon Prime was the big sort of uplift that sort of got them going. But for most games, I think it probably won't work, because that's just how these things operate.
Good. You have played Guild of Guardians this week and Nitro Nation World Tour. You've gotten into. You're quite excited about those two games, so I thought I'd just mention that. And you're sort of thinking around those two, why they might be the games that sort of break through in Web3, and what that would mean to the industry, kind of thing.
So, I mean, particularly Nitro Nations is, the latest game in this sort of long-running mobile drag racing car series from Creative Mobile out in Estonia. They've been doing this literally for like at least 10 years, maybe 15 years. Something. They've done, I don't know, hundreds of millions of downloads probably by this stage. They really know what they're doing. They have, so all the cars are like fully licensed from all the manufacturers. It's just if you just played it as a Web2 game. I should point out at the moment it's only in closed beta, so you only have access if you've bought an NFT. And clearly when you play the game, there are bits that are not finished. And what
are the prices of the NFTs at the moment, roughly?
The entry level pack for a car is $40, and the most expensive pack is $150. or you can go on the marketplace. The mythical.market is the URL on the web, and you can go and buy. I mean, cards are priced at whatever prices are there.
Okay.
But you download it through the App Store. It's super polished as I would expect from a creative mobile game. So I've been playing a bit of that, and what's really interesting, and we don't really know how this is going to work in the long term, is you can play the game as just a Web 2 game, in-app purchases, no crypto. It doesn't really mention crypto at all. But to level up your car, you have to join what they call a club, so it's like a guild or an alliance in the game. And the clubs only work if someone in the club has they call them workshops, and they're sort of the garage NFTs. So the NFTs in the game are cars and garages, and spark plugs, which is how you create new cars. But if you have one of these workshops, that allows you to do things like level up your car more, and you have this a mode where the more you race the car, the more sort of degraded it gets, and over time you have to spend money to sort of repair it. So using these garages boosts that sort of thing. There's a whole bunch of other stuff. It's quite complicated, I wouldn't say. I've looked into all of it. But so you basically have this interesting model where you can sort of play the game just as a Web 2 game and not spend any money, or spend fiat money. But even in those situations, you're probably going to end up joining a club in which you're going to get the benefit of someone else's NFTs. So it's sort of quite an interesting model they've got going on there. And there's going to be a rental model as well, so you can rent NFTs can be rented out within clubs to people using in-game currency, not crypto. So again, it goes back to a little bit what we were talking about with building sort of structures in which in Web 2, Web 3 games, where the Web 2 people are sort of getting the benefits of Web 3 and sort of starting to understand a little bit about it, but not having to spend any money, and then but then they're realizing this car's only $40, and people spend clearly $40 in terms of in-app purchases. So if they don't have to set up a wallet or understand about crypto or go through KYC, but they just spend $40 like they would do normally, and they've got an NFT they can sell, then they sort of get to understand what digital ownership sort of means over time. So that one's interesting. Guild of Guardians, go through very quickly. So that's a game that's been totally rebooted. I played a version of it last year. This is an entirely new game, effectively. So it's a squad-based RPG. It's like they call roguelike. So you're going through procedurally generated dungeons and trying to defeat all the sort of bosses. And most, when you start off, you sort of get killed really quickly, and then you sort of have to level up your character and get more resources, and then go through the whole thing again, and you keep going through until you finish that sort of dungeon sequence, and then you start on another one. So really, really well polished. It's only been in development really for 6 months. So both of those, very excited about.
Good. It's a good note to end on, and we will for sure see more of those games on the website in the near future. But thank you very much, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.
Goodbye.